9C, we're going to look at solving rational equation. So a rational equation is just any equation that has a rational expression, and we learned that a rational expression is anything with a fraction. So this is an example of a rational equation. And so what we're going to do is get a common denominator for all of the fractions in the equation. So I have an x and a 4 and a 12. So I'm going to make my common denominator here 12x. Okay, so that means this fraction gets multiplied by x on the top and bottom. This one is going to be multiplied by 3x. Okay, because again, I want my denominator to be 12x, which means this one has to get multiplied by 12. Okay, so when I do that, 12 times 2 is 24, so I have 24 over 12x. All right, plus 1 times 3x is 3x over 12x. And that is equal to 11x over 12x. Now, once I do that, having those 12x's all in the denominator, I can basically get rid of them. And so now I have 24 plus 3x equals 11x, and this is an equation that you should have learned how to solve in Algebra 1. So I need all my x's on the same side. Okay, 24 equals 8x, divide by 8, all right, and x equals 3. Okay, so let's look at another example. I'm going to skip, I'm not going to do all of the examples that are in your notes packet, but as always, like, we're going to work on them in class and you're going to check your answers. So I'm going to skip to example 3. Okay, so here on the left side of the equation, I have a common denominator already. But I need it also on the right side. So my common denominator is going to be 3x. So I'm going to multiply. Remember, 1, if something is not a fraction, we can make it a fraction by putting it over 1. So I'm going to multiply by 3x on both the top and the bottom. So my left side is going to stay the same because they already have a common denominator. And then my right side now becomes 3x over 3x. All common denominators, so 1 plus x minus 6 equals 3x. Combine my like terms over here. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. And then I can move the x over. So negative 5 equals 2x. And we're going to leave that as a simplified fraction, and x is equal to negative 5/2. Okay, next one I'm going to do is example 9. So we're skipping down a little bit. Okay, same thing as when we were adding and subtracting. We need a common denominator, and if we can factor things, we should do that first. So x plus 13 cannot be factored, so I'm going to leave this for now. All right, over here, I'm going to leave the top. Okay, the numerator is going to stay. And then the denominator, I can factor this, so I'm looking for numbers that multiply to negative 130 and add to positive 3. Okay, so that's going to be positive 13 and negative 10. So this denominator becomes x plus 13 times x minus 10. All right, plus 1 over x minus 10. So now it makes it easy for me to see what my common denominator should be. It's going to be this. So x plus 13, x minus 10 is going to be my common denominator. All right, so that means this fraction has to get multiplied by x minus 10 on the top and bottom, and this fraction has to get multiplied by x plus 13 on the top and bottom to give me all common denominators. So over here, on the top, you're going to have to FOIL. Okay, so x times x is x squared. X times negative 7 is negative 7x. Negative 10 times x is negative 10x. And then negative 10 times negative 7 is positive 70. And that is all over x plus 13, x minus 10. Remember, we're leaving the denominators factored. Okay, this fraction I didn't change at all because it already had what I wanted my common denominator to be. So I'm just going to copy it down again. And then the third fraction, I am multiplying 1 times x plus 13, so that would be x plus 13. Okay, and then here I have x plus 13 times x minus 10. All right, So now all have a common denominator, so I can get rid of all of that. And when I write this down, I'm going to go ahead and combine my like terms here. So I have x squared minus 17x plus 70 equals x squared plus 10x plus 9 plus x plus 13. Okay, so left side stays the same. Right side, I'm going to combine my like terms, so I have a plus 10x and plus x. Alright, so x squared plus 11x, and then 9 plus 13 is 22. Okay, and now to solve this, I need all the x's on one side, so I'm going to subtract x squared and subtract 11x. So minus x squared minus 11x. Okay, whoops, sorry about that line. Alright, so here x squared minus x squared, that would be 0. Negative 17 minus 11 is negative 28x plus 70 equals 22. Alright, subtract 70 from both sides. Negative 28x equals negative 48. Divide by negative 28. Simplify that fraction, and x equals negative 12 over 7. Alright, and that is it for solving rational equations.